Hi folks, Jack Spirko here, co-founder of Gen Forward on the last day of our Indiegogo campaign, and the last 4 days have kind of blown me away. We got up to about $12,000 in fundraising pretty quick, and we kind of languished there for the majority of the campaign and had some stuff trickle in. And in the last 3 days, we've gone from about 13,000 where we had kind of peaked and teetered out to over $20,000 in fundraising, and that means we're less than $5,000 away from our goal at this point. And I don't know if we can make it because we have till midnight tonight to do that. I will point out something for you real quick. If we do manage to make our goal, about 4% more money goes into the till for us to do our development with. We did flexible funding, so it costs us 9% on our money through fundraising with Indiegogo. If we don't meet our goal, if we do meet our goal, they'll rebate us 4% of that on all the monies collected, which means a significant amount will go toward development. And this is the final countdown. If you want to participate, today's the day to do it. It'll be the last day to be able to get your membership at a discount, get a bunch of free memberships to give away, and help us get this thing launched. But on that note, whether we make it or not, thank you to all of you who have told people about what we do. And thank you to all of you who have backed us, and some of you, you guys that have backed us at really high levels. Really, really big thank you to you guys. I wanted to do a couple things. I want to tell you that something very special is going to come out Monday or Tuesday next week that has to do with our Forces for Good campaign. We're not going to mess around. We're going to go right to it. Stay tuned for that. And the other thing I wanted to do today was one more question, one more thing to get you thinking as we get ready to go into the beta on this and start letting people journal things. And I want to tell you, it's going to be functionally limited for the first few weeks as we start to add the features and get your feedback. But really starting to think about what we're going to preserve for future generations and for our own families right now and strengthen those family bonds. So my question for you is there a special moment in your life that you'd want to tell future generations about, or tell your children about, that maybe they wouldn't, like I said yesterday, they wouldn't really have a lot of appreciation for it yet, but they might later in the future? And I want you to think beyond the big obvious moments for a minute, and I'll share one of mine with you to give you a better feel for what I mean. But people say things like the day your son was born, or your daughter was born, or the day you proposed to your wife, or the day you got married, or the day a child graduated from school or took their first steps. Those are big events in life, and it stands to reason that we're going to talk about those things in our Gen Forward profiles. But I mean small special moments that get forgotten, except in the mind of the person that experienced them, that can teach others a lesson. So here's mine, or one of several of mine. I've been fortunate enough to have several what I call perfect moments in time that were perfect for me, that stayed with me. I'm an avid fisherman. I've fished all across the world, really, and certainly all across the country. Whenever we travel somewhere, I'm the kind of guy that'll take a guided fishing trip and things like that. And one of our favorite places to go is a place called Sanibel Island, Florida. And my wife and I have gone there several times alone, and many times we've gone with my son. And one morning I got up about 6 o'clock in the morning to go fish in the surf while they were still in bed. And I walked down to the beach, and I got down there, and the tide was completely in. And the water was, even though it was the Gulf of Mexico, the water was as still as a lake, just barely rippling. The water was turquoise blue. It was gorgeous. And I started fishing, and I caught a few fish here and there, and that's always a great morning. But as time went on a little bit, the sun began to really come up above the horizon behind me, because it was rising in the east, of course, and I'm facing west out over the Gulf. So the light of the sun begins to go across this rippling water, and I hooked a fish called a ladyfish. And a ladyfish is generally considered by a lot of anglers a trash fish. Some you might use for bait. It's not something you would eat. They don't get that big, but they're mirror polished silver, and they're long and thin. And when I hooked this fish, he was, a foot and a half long, came up out of the water and went from my right side view to my left side view and walked across this still water. You couldn't have drawn it. You couldn't have done video cinematography. You couldn't have done anything to make it happen more perfectly and beautiful in front of me, to see this fish do this amazing thing, to walk on its tail and see the line that went all the way out to the fish that was still about 25 yards away from me at the time, lit up perfectly. The sun had to be in this perfect position. This is something that can only happen, kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime moment. And I brought the fish in and I let it go and it swam away. And I thought to myself, wow, that was a perfect moment. Now, it's not a perfect moment for a lot of people, it's a perfect moment for me. And it's the type of thing that you spend your lifetime as a fisherman, or for some of us that are outdoorsmen as hunters or hikers and things, and you have just these few times that you have these still silent moments. And a lot of times they happen when no one else is around and no one else is there to share them with, but they're worth sharing. And I'll tell you why they're worth sharing with your children, your grandchildren, and future generations, so that those folks know that those moments are possible, so that they will spend some part of their life in a quest for a few of them. Because it is in the quest that we do our greatest learning. And it is those moments that keep us pushing for the next one, that keep us seeking the next one. So yes, we should have great joy in those big moments in life that are highly universal. But I think we should also have special small moments to us, and we should share those moments with our family, even if they don't completely get it, because someday they just might. And again, it's the fact that they're possible. And I'd like to believe when I'm a really old man and my mind starts to go and I'm not remembering as much stuff anymore, that I will at least be able to go back to some of those moments, and some of the other things that I can remember will be important to me as well. But if I can have a few of those, that I can still be there. Because to this day, and that was many years ago now, I can still be there in that moment. That's something I'd like to preserve for future generations. That's something I'd like my son to know about me, my grandson when he's old enough to understand, and great-grandchildren who I may never know. I want them to know that. I want them to know about that second in time, and I'd like them to be willing to work for seconds in time like that for themselves, for their family, and for their children. So do you have one? If you would, share it with us in the comments, and if it's too personal, hold on to it, but put it into that Gen Forward profile. Again, this has been Jack Spirko with a video on the progress of Gen Forward. The beta will be out very soon. I don't know if it's going to be today or not. We may release it today to funders, but it'll be next week at the latest. This is the last day that you can support what we're doing. If we can pull off a miracle here and raise about another $4,800 in new customers by the end of the day, we can hit that goal. I'm not someone that's accustomed to not hitting goals, but whether we do it or not, again, I just appreciate all of you so much for helping us turn Gen Forward from a dream into a reality.